Welcome everybody to the Octane AI community meetup. We've been doing this for a while, and I think this is show 7. We've been doing it so long, which I'm really excited about, that now I can't actually remember which show today is, but I think it's show 7. A bunch of you have been here for many shows. Some of you, it's your first time. You might actually be watching this on a recording on YouTube right now too. So hello for all the people watching on YouTube. But welcome to the Octane AI community weekly meetups. We do this every Wednesday at the same time. It's 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, and whatever else it is in whatever time zone you're in. And we focus on talking about Octane AI, quizzes, collecting zero-party data, which is data that you get by asking your customers questions like, how old are you? What are you looking for? If you're a beauty brand, like what's your skin type? And then we spend a lot of time discussing how can you use all this information that your customers have so graciously shared with you to make their shopping experience better. How can you personalize their emails and their text messages? How can you personalize your website? What insights can you glean from actually getting to know your customers? And you can actually do a lot, crazy enough. And that's what we focus on. And so today, I'm going to quickly just go over what we did last week, if you missed it, and then we have a super awesome session today, which Lexi Bennett is here. She saved my butt because we had a scheduling conflict, and Lexi agreed yesterday to come on the show. Like a trooper, and so mad props, Lexi. You have saved the show. So everybody clap for Lexi because she's incredible for doing this so quickly. But she's going to show us how 3Ships, which is an amazing beauty brand, if you're not familiar already, leverages their Octane AI quiz throughout their Klaviyo email flows. And she's actually going to screen share like at least 10, I think it's 10 emails from 3Ships inside of their Klaviyo account with the new Klaviyo logo, and she's going to show us how she came up with them, what their purposes are, how they work with Octane AI quiz data and zero-party data. So super pumped. I've been basically like every couple days I ping Lexi and I'm like, please, can you come on and show everybody this, because she does really awesome work. So super pumped for that. So what the heck did we do last week? If you missed it, I'll just give you a quick recap. So last week, we talked to 3 people. Here, I'll make myself disappear. We talked to Sophia Babb, who is working on an amazing quiz. We talked to Cody from Jones Road Beauty. And we also talked to Jason Wong. And they each went over individually their quiz that they've built with Octane AI, or that they're in the process of building, and how they're using it as a way to increase revenue from ads. And so this is a really popular trend that we've seen, especially starting at the beginning of this year, and it's growing really rapidly, where you used to be able to do crazy hyper-targeted ads because Facebook and other advertising platforms could use pixels to track absolutely everything that your customers did when they were on your website. But Apple last year came out with an update, iOS 14.5, where people had to give platforms like Facebook permission to track them with the Pixel when they're browsing on their iPhone. And most people, like well over 90% of people, didn't give permission. So that's like 1 billion people that are browsing on really expensive phones that Facebook and other advertising platforms can no longer track, which means that you can't advertise nearly as well because Facebook doesn't know who the heck people are, what they're looking at. And so the new strategy, which Cody and Jason have both been like pioneering, which is working really well, is you run ads maybe on TikTok or Facebook or somewhere else. They're not as targeted as you used to be able to do because that's impossible now. And when people click it, you actually, instead of taking them to a product, you take them directly to a quiz or maybe an article that links to a quiz. And the benefit of this is when you take them to this quiz, you can now actually ask them a bunch of questions and figure out who the heck they are. And you can recommend them multiple products with really high confidence, as opposed to just showing them one product on a product landing page. And what happens is that people build trust with you. They feel really confident in the products that you recommend, and they end up buying more products from you right then immediately and over time. And so they've been able to increase their average order value. They're making a lot more money from their ads. And a lot of other brands are kind of jumping on this kind of trend. I think 3Ships is doing it as well, and a bunch of others. Because if you can't hyper personalize your ads anymore, the best thing you can do is get to know people and then hyper personalize your website, your email, and your SMS. And that's exactly what an Octane AI quiz lets you do. So if you want to watch that video and all of our other past community events, if you've missed them, just go to our YouTube, or just type in Octane AI on YouTube. Our channel will pop up. We have all the recordings. This recording will be there later. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, we all say hello. Thank you for watching on YouTube. So without further ado, the main event. How 3Ships leverages their Octane AI quiz in their Klaviyo email flows, and behind the scenes, inside their Klaviyo account and inside the brain of Lexi Bennett, one of the top Klaviyo personalization geniuses in the entire world, who we are so lucky to have with us today. Lexi, let me bring you up here. 1 second. Woo! Okay, we have Lexi. Lexi, I mean, before we hop into this, and again, thank you so much for coming on at such short notice. But how how did you even get started doing Klaviyo personalization? How did you even build up this skill set?
Well, my first job out of college, I worked in-house at a very fast-growing baby brand that was D2C. And they were like, "You're the millennial, you'll figure this out." So I just did everything. I ran Facebook ads, social media, and then I also got started on their email marketing. And that's where I was like, "Oh, I love email marketing. I love using Klaviyo. This is what I want to specialize in." So after a while, I left that brand in-house, and then I worked at an agency to diversify my experience. I just needed to know, does this work across lots of different brands, or was I just lucky because I got to sell stuff with cute baby faces? So I worked with a lot of brands behind the scenes at an agency. I love that experience. And now I freelance and work one on one with just a couple of brands at a time. And I specialize in helping brands set up personalized flows that are just beyond the Klaviyo defaults. There's nothing wrong with those, but at some point you want to customize your customer journey so that it's perfectly matches your product and what kind of customers you have.
And where is the best place if someone wanted to get on your waiting list to work with you in the future? What's the best way for somebody to do that? I imagine maybe somebody watching right now is going to be very interested in working with you.
Yeah, I have a little mini waiting list. I am quite booked out at the time, so I took down my website link and everything so people can't find me. But you can DM me on Twitter and then we'll chat. But it's my next availability is not for several months, so just putting that out there. I have a strict rule of how many brands I work with at a time. Even if hourly, I could take on more. I just need to be able to totally focus on one thing at a time, not split my attention. But if it's a good fit, definitely DM me on Twitter. That's the best place to find me.
Okay, so I just posted Lexi's Twitter link in the chat again. Uh, I suggest go following her, and then you got to comment on every tweet she does and like it and say really nice things, and then just start DMing her that your brand is a really great fit. And maybe that can help you kind of move up the waiting list. I don't know if that will work or not, but I think that would be your best bet. I guess one other thing before you hop in, when I think I am connected to at least 100 Klaviyo accounts in my Klaviyo, and so I've seen what a lot of brands look like. You've probably seen even more than that, and I definitely know that a surprising number of brands don't have any personalization at all, and it's very common that it takes time to put together all your automations. I totally get that, but you'll have a welcome series where it's literally just everybody gets the exact same 3 emails. It doesn't matter who you are. It's not taking anything into consideration. And I feel like probably a lot of people watching now even have that, and that's just how it's been. And I think it goes back to the fact that you used to be able to run crazy ads. You made most of your money when people clicked it. You did kind of the bare minimum on your email, and whatever money you made from that, is great. And then you just pump the crap out of campaigns, and that's what you do. Whereas now, I feel like empathy is the strongest kind of word, and that's what you want your email automations and SMS automations to kind of you know like represent. Like you want to treat people based on who they are. How do you think about kind of like this world of personalization? Like how do when you talk to a new brand who's maybe not doing this, like how do you kind of approach that? How should people, other brands who are watching right now, like how should they be thinking about their brand?
Yeah, I understand why a lot of people don't implement it. Like, it is a lot of like technical upfront work, but I think customers start to expect like a higher level of like a better experience where stuff just makes more sense for them. They're getting the right emails about the right stuff at the right time. I'm lucky to work with Three Ships and other brands that are very, very determined to offer a very high level experience and to make sure that their content makes sense and is responding to their customers. Like Three Ships is very, very in tune with what their customers want and what they like. And so all the work that I've done for them has come because of their direction. Like the leadership there has requested the kind of content that I've made. So I think it really comes like from the top. Like if you're the type of brand owner that values your customer experience and making sure like emails really fit perfectly into that journey, this is like personalizing your emails is the way to go. Like I think if you follow me on Twitter, I was just chatting with Chad who runs Dorsal Fin bracelets. And he like is so dedicated up to making sure like his people get what he's doing and there's clear communication and the emails are really good quality and they're excited about what they're purchasing, and he's using a lot of personalization for that as well. So I think it's the way to go. Oh, he's here. He's in the chat. Personalizing emails, like leveling up that experience, just making sure you're not cluttering someone's inbox or just annoying them with stuff that's completely irrelevant is just like that's got to go. And we got to treat people like they're people because they are, even if they're just on the other side of a screen, by sending emails and sending content that's just way more relevant to them.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And also really cool that Chad's here. What's up, Chad? We definitely should have you on in the future as well. Okay, Lexi, I know I've asked you a bunch of questions, and thank you for indulging me on that. But I'm going to pass it over to you. And I am super pumped. I haven't even seen what these emails look like. Uh, and I'm super pumped to kind of hear from you about what you're doing with Three Ships and what these emails look like and how they utilize the Octane AI quiz data and also how they incorporate the quiz into the emails. And I know that you're like top level on this when we were talking about what you're going to talk about today, is that this is maybe new for some people, but the things that you're going to present are really, really actionable and really accessible. And this is not crazy complicated. And everybody who's watching this should definitely be able to kind of replicate this to a certain extent, with their own brand or a brand that they're working with. So for everybody watching, this is going to be something that you can actually, use and copy, today, like right after this. So Lexi, over to you.
Awesome. I'm going to screen share. And I know we've been screen sharing and zooming for 2 years, but I'm still going to ask and make sure you can see my screen.
We can see your screen. Also, everybody in chat, feel free to just like shoot out questions throughout this, and then I'll ask them or Lexi will notice them. But this is definitely meant to be like a super collaborative. Like we're just all here to learn. We can interrupt, we can go crazy, we can do whatever we want. So just pepper
Yeah,
with questions.
definitely drop your questions. And I'm glad you mentioned that. The big takeaway I want is like nothing is super complicated or special or fancy. Like all of this is something you can implement, so you don't need to like worry about it. So this is Three Ships. They sell natural skincare, and I love their stuff. I've been working with them for a little over a year. And I was not really into skincare before I started working with them, so I'm really glad that I did because they sent me a bunch of their product, and I definitely have the best skin I've ever had. I didn't know you could like completely change the way your skin looks, but you can. So they sell natural skincare. They're based out of Canada. I help them develop their emails. This is their email flow map. I put it into one page so that I don't have to like go into Klaviyo and see everything individually when I need to find something. So this is all the different automated emails that go out and triggers. And we drive people to the quiz throughout this whole process, like even if they're returning customers. So I went and pulled 10 different emails throughout this flow that I'm going to show you. I have them all pulled up in bookmarks in order. And then drop questions and stuff in the chat and interrupt me, Matt, if there's something you want me to address real fast. So, first of all, we have a pop up that drives people, it just redirects to the quiz. This shows up on product pages when they're browsing. It has like quite a delay on it, so it's not the first thing that they see. And then when we're planning like outreach and press campaigns, like we're having like driving people to the quiz is one of the main call to actions. So we're definitely trying to get as many people to the quiz as possible. And as you saw, it's right here in like the top navigation. Then we're going to do the quiz real fast so everyone has context and knows what I'm talking about when I show you these emails. So it's really short, but the Three Ships team took a lot of time to make sure we ask exactly the right minimal needed questions to give them the right routine. So first we ask like what their skin type is, and we put this in language that they understand, even if they're not like a total skincare nerd. Then we ask, what is your top skin concern? Like what problem are you trying to solve? And we've seen that most people fall into two different categories. And knowing that about our customers has informed like the direction of a lot of future campaigns. So I'm going to pick oiliness. How frequently do you wear makeup? We asked this question for different upsell opportunities later, and like that determines a lot of like what kind of products you need. How often do you break out? And then this is fun. What are you looking for specifically? This is quite interesting to learn. Like, are people hunting for something specific, or are they just kind of open to whatever we suggest? Then do you want just the essentials or thoroughly stocked? So enter my email in here so you can get a discount code if you enter your email, or you can just skip. And here's our results page. So we have an image here that shows their routine. Each results page has its own little image. And then I like these little blurbs that explain more about their skin type, like why it is the way it is, like what problem they're trying to solve here. Big reminder what their discount is. And then here are the products with add to cart buttons, and then routine add-ons with some explainers as to like what products would be good add-ons and why. So that is the quiz. In the welcome, I guess about once a month we send out an email campaign to people that haven't yet taken the quiz or somehow came into our.
But I wanted to see what was in it.
Someone's got their volume on. Hold on. There we go. So we send an email once a month driving people to the quiz, or it'll be just like a block within a larger campaign. And here's just some examples. So we show them like, we get asked this question. This is the number one customer service question we get asked is what order to put different products on, because like water and oil sits differently on your face. So we send this out, and then if you need your own custom routine, here, take the quiz. And here's another one we sent more recently that just has a bunch of UGC and reviews and also drives people to the quiz.
And then these are campaigns, these ones?
Yep. Yeah, once a month. So we do once a month like a quiz themed campaign, or we include like a call to action to the quiz somewhere in our regular campaign schedule.
Got it. So like once a month, give or take, promotion to the quiz. And then who do you is it like a certain segment that you're sending to for that?
Yeah, so I'll exclude anyone that took the quiz recently, like in the last 30 days or so. But like when the season changes or something, sometimes you want to go back and take the quiz or get new recommendations, or you have a different concern you're working with, or you want to be reminded what your full results are. So there are reasons to go back and take the quiz even if you've already done it. So I'll push people back to the quiz.
Got it. So tip number one from Lexi is once a month, send an email to people who have not recently taken your Octane AI quiz and give them a reason and encouragement to go take the quiz. Some other questions, real quick, before we keep going.
Yeah.
Griff asks, does that pop up only trigger if they are on a product page or just browsing on the site for a set amount of time?
Yeah, it's only on different product pages. So it's on the specific product page or like category pages, and it's excluded from the home page and like the cart page and all that because that's where our normal welcome flow pop-up shows up because we're trying to get a lot of SMS subscribers, so we are prioritizing that. But if they've been browsing for a while and they've like are deep in a product page and not sure what to get, they see the skin quiz pop up.
Cool. And then Monica asks, who also, if Monica was on the show recently, you got to go watch her video. She's building an awesome brand. Why not make the email mandatory in the quiz? And we got a bunch of answers actually to that in the chat as well. But I think what we've seen is if you allow people to skip when putting in their email address, the emails that you do get are going to be really, really high quality. Like those people like really have high intent. They really want to do it. Usually you'll get like more than 50% of people will put their email in. Sometimes it's even a lot higher, like 75% plus. What we've seen if you don't allow people to skip email is that people will put in fake email addresses as a hack to skip. And then you'll end up with a situation where now your list is getting kind of muddied up with emails that are going to bounce, which is not necessarily ideal. So that's just like what we've seen. And none of this answer isn't perfect for everybody. Like you could totally have a quiz and not have people skip and get all great emails. I'm just speaking from like a very general kind of like high level perspective across, like looking at like 1,000 brands who are doing this.
Yeah. And I think the question to ask yourself also is what is the goal? The goal is not to get people to take your quiz, or the goal is not to get people to give you their email. The goal is to get someone to purchase something and enjoy their experience. And a lot of times that's facilitated by giving your email and taking a quiz. But if someone just doesn't want to, like, don't make them, like, don't get in the way of them making a purchase. So, yeah, the people that fill it out, they want that discount code. They're like primed and ready to buy. But we don't make it mandatory because it just doesn't fit with like the true big goal. And yeah, we don't need to.
Yeah, that I think that's totally right. Like the true big goal is like let's make the customer super happy and be really empathetic and not
Yeah.
be like forceful or be weird or anything. I mention this on like almost I think every show, but I really like to think about all of this as if it like existed in like a physical world. So like if you had a real store in like a physical space and like that was your website, and instead of people visiting your website like they're actually coming into the store, like what would your online interactions that you currently have look like if they were represented in like a physical place? And I feel like it makes it a lot easier to kind of like conceptualize like what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And it's kind of like if in person, like the quiz is like a conversation, right? And you can have a good conversation and you can have a bad conversation. And at the end of a conversation, maybe this is for a business purpose, or maybe you like want to go on the date with somebody, or like whatever it is. At the end, you might be like, what's your phone number? Like, what's your email? And it basically, if the conversation was good enough, and you would like to have more interactions like this, they're probably going to want to give you, their contact information, and so then you can continue on whatever type of relationship that's going to be. um, I think the same makes sense for your website and your quiz. Like if you can provide them with a really engaging experience and a conversation that proves that you're really trying to empathize with them and provide value to them, the people who give you their contact information after that, those are the people we want to focus on. The people who decide they don't want to give you their email, it's probably better if you don't focus on them at all anyways.
Yep. Yep. People will tell you what they want, and then you just have to give that to them. So I love that analogy. I recently bought a couch because I moved and I spent the last year plus living abroad. So I sold all my furniture. So I've needed all new furniture, and I had a great experience buying a couch from someone. And she's like, oh, you can also buy this and you can buy that. I bought a ton of furniture from her because I needed all of it. And then, of course, once I bought, I got just bombarded with these really crappy, obnoxious emails that had nothing to do with what I bought. Were like trying to sell me like cookie cutter sheets and stuff, like everything I did not need. But if they had been emails about like something more relevant, I would have been interested because I still need more furniture. So yeah, treat people, like the install in-store couch lady, not like the spammy, obnoxious follow-up email person.
Right.
So
And then one more question. Does this page live in Octane and Klaviyo? I don't know which one. Maybe you're referring to the quiz. If you're referring to the quiz, that lives on Shopify, which is what Three Ships uses, and it's just an embed on that page, which is the Octane AI embed. And then all the data once you take the quiz, all the answers and your email address and any other data you've inputted, which is the zero party data, gets instantly synced to the Three Ships Klaviyo account, which is where Lexi gets to have a field day with them, basically.
I love that's the fun stuff. And um people like the quiz. Like this, we spent a lot of time making sure we asked the right questions and recommended the right products. Like this is what we would recommend you in person. There's lots of different results pages. It's not just like everyone gets the same thing. Because it does matter what type of skin you have. Like this is a thoughtfully designed quiz, and it's why we drive a lot of people to it. It's because this actually gives them stuff that they want, and they know that. And I also think when like a new idea or a new app or whatever comes around, a lot of people will jump on it and then not really like invest in it and get the full like experience out of it. And so that's also kind of what I wanted to show you guys is that we drive people to the quiz and integrate the quiz like everywhere because it it works and we want to use it to its full extent and take the full advantage of it. So let me jump into some more examples. So these are the campaigns that we send out reminding people to take the quiz, or if they somehow joined or bought something before but hadn't taken quiz before, we let them know that's an option. Then in the welcome flow, the first two emails, the main call to action is to take the quiz. So this is one of a welcome emails, and then here is find products for your skin type. This is where people are clicking, taking the quiz. And then our follow-up email in the welcome flow is a text-based email from our customer service team saying like, hey, the best way to figure out what you want is take this 2-minute quiz. We promise it's like really great. It's going to give you what you want. And then it gives them a little teaser of like, these are the kind of things we would recommend based on your different skin types. So this does really well. Then in an abandoned cart email, we also remind people to take this quiz. So they're like browsing around, trying to like, decide what they want. We show them like what they were looking for, but if they need help or they are just like not 100% sure, because skincare can be overwhelming. There's 2 different types of cleansers. Like, how do I know if this one's better than that one? We try to answer that on the PDP, but we just want to like over explain rather than under explain because we'd rather be more helpful. So they can take the quiz and remind people like they could also just text us. And then this is okay. This is like unfinished, so you get to see like an unfinished email, but I knew you guys would want to see this. This is a cross-sell email. It's like a little note about building up their routine, and this goes only to people that have already taken the quiz and then shows them like, hey, I think you would like this too. I want to finish building this out with like dry skin favorites for your shelf as opposed to just for your shelf, because we can pull that info in or remind them of their quiz results here. But this is a cross sell email. Then, if they haven't taken the quiz, they get this email instead, which is like, hey, we've got a great way to get your full routine built out. You just take this little quiz and then you get a discount, and it's super easy. So that's how we put it into the cross sell flow. Then what is this? Oh yeah, this is a cross-sell email as well. This follows up a while later if they still haven't made a purchase and they're interested. We send another text-based email. So like this is very like implementable. So it's simple. It's like, hey, we built this quiz for you. It's really solid. You get a discount. Here's a link to it. Okay, now here's the actual new skin quiz flow. New because you guys recently updated that you can dynamically populate like the individual products, which made everything a million times easier. So we've just launched this new one. So it's still being like built out fully, but we've got the first like 2 sequences built out, and this is the first email that goes out. So we've got a reminder about their code at the top. a click to view their results page, which I love that they can go back to that full page and see all the different recommendations. Everyone gets recommended this moisturizer as part of their routine. So that's our hero image here. And then their 3-step routine is dynamically populated. I like this section because it shows like the image, the product title, and then the button goes to that product page. And it matches exactly what they had. Like, oh, so much better than having a bunch of different images. So I
Yeah,
like that.
this like made it infinitely better, right? Because
Yeah,
beforehand, you would have had to like manually recreate all the logic from
I
the
did.
Octane quiz inside of Klaviyo, whereas our Klaviyo like 2.0 basically integration with Octane AI allows you to automatically take the products at the end of the Octane AI quiz that are recommended to that person, and then automatically populate them like freaking magic inside of this Klaviyo email. And so you don't even have to worry about it. You're like, yeah, just like in this section, just put whatever Octane says they got, and then it just like automatically happens. So yeah, it's like super cool, super
Yeah,
awesome.
when you tweeted that update, I just like freaked out and was like, yes, because I had spent forever building all this logic out in Klaviyo and making sure all of it matched. And of course, we'd update our quiz quite often if like a product was out of stock because of like all the global supply chain issues, or if we launched something new, our quiz was updated. So we had to update the freaking flow all the time. But now it just like dynamically does that perfectly. So we can stay on top of the quiz and making sure it's always offering like the best solution without having to like redo all of the emails. So love this. And it just pops in really clean and looks great. Then this is what I had mentioned on like an earlier Octane call where we match reviews to their concerns that they had mentioned. So remember back in the quiz, we asked them like, what is your primary concern? I have 2 different GIFs that show that rotate different before and after images. They're like untouched, just what people send us. And there's logic built into them in this like little question mark section that shows if they match these things, show them this image. So, and then so that way they're like seeing someone results that like matches what they're actually looking for. And below, I built out a bunch of different reviews that stood out to me that I really liked, and they have different logic in them as well. So if someone says that they're really struggling with like dry skin, they're going to see this review only, and different like skincare concerns. So let me show you what that looks like previewed. So a person would only see one rotating GIF and then one review, but on the back end in Klaviyo, you see all the different options put in there. And I like this because we're just saving them time. Like we know that they're just going to go to the reviews and dig through to see if this product solves a problem for someone else like them. Like I do that at least when I'm trying to research something. And we're just trying to skip that step for them and make things easier. Yeah, so this person talks about wanting to have clearer skin, and now she talks about I go without foundation because I feel so good in my skin. And then
I
it
know a ton of brands are starting to copy this little kind of strategy from you, because you came on an earlier Octane AI meetup and you were like, oh yeah, one of the greatest things you could do is not just personalize the product recommendations, but use their answers to the quiz to show them a review that basically is talking about like their situation, right? Like if you have oily skin, show somebody a review from someone who's like, I have oily skin and this product like changed my life, because obviously that's going to like be super super hyper relevant to them. So I know that that's like Cody came on here from Jones Road and was talking about how they're running TikTok ads to the quiz, and now everybody's doing that. You came on here and you were like, you should also include a personalized review based on quiz data, and I know a lot of people are copying that. So kudos to you for kicking that trend off.
well, and it's very easy to do. Like once you build it out once, just like copy paste this little conditioning here. And then if I wanted to in our next campaign, like right here, like if this was this review, I can just plug and chug, like basically copy paste that same thing. So I would save this if I were you and you were trying to do this, save this as like a template or create a template in Klaviyo that has all of these blocks built out. with the conditions already in them. And then when you're building out your campaigns, or if you need to use this somewhere else in the flow, like it's done. You just can swap out different reviews if you want to keep it fresh, but it's done for you. You just have to like build it once.
And if you want any tips, anyone watching on how to do all these like conditional, like you have to do a little bit of code, but it's not even code. It's like it's really easy once you know how to do it. I dropped a link. I read like all of Klaviyo's documentation a couple months ago, and I made this like jam packed cheat sheet article, which I linked in the chat, which will give
Very
you
helpful.
things you can copy and paste for basically every magical thing you would ever want to do. I spent a lot of time on it, but you will not have to spend nearly as much time because I put it in an article for you.
Yes, I just went and copy pasted everything from that article when I was building this. So you can see like this is the logic built in. So event lookup, what is your primary skin concern? Answer blemishes, or primary skin concern is oiliness because we're showing those people the same review. So that's the first email. What I like about it is that it's just one email and not like 42 different emails. So then the second email we follow up with is another text-based email that's more personal, and it's explaining their results to them. Let me see if I can bring up a preview, because we want people to like not just get a product, but like really understand like the science and the ingredients and feel empowered with that knowledge. So this just goes into more detail. So first we explain like why we're emailing them, and then okay, you told us this is your primary concern. The easiest way to solve that is like X, Y, and Z. We built your entire routine about solving that concern. Here are the different steps and why they work. And that's it. Like this is what we believe. You're going to be amazed at how well it works. And if you don't love it, here's our return policy. And if you've got questions, just reply back. Don't forget to use your code, and then a little cheat sheet at the bottom that brings them back to their results page, and then also says like what their products are, and then our ingredient philosophy. And if they click these, it goes to their products as well. Or if they click their results, it brings up their products. So this also is really quick and fast to build because I'm just copy pasting this information. So this is like the event product, like product 0, right? And down here, it's product 0 linked to the product link. So you can just copy and paste that from the blog article that Matt wrote too. And now you can use that in just like normal communication because it's like built for you. So that's an example of one. And then like I said, most people taking the quiz fall into one or two skin concerns. So I've built the first two to cover like 80% of people, and then we're gonna run this for a little while and see how people respond, because people do reply to these emails, and Laura like actually replies back. Like she's the skincare expert, so she's the one like explaining things. Like people have really technical or specific questions, or maybe they're buying for someone else. So we want to run this for a bit and see what the feedback is. If there's any languages or any language that comes back like confusing, or if a lot of people have a specific question, we know to update this email with that answer. And then once this works, we build out the next one. So it's like a constant test, see how it goes, get feedback, make the next one. That's the process. So those are the 10 emails, the 10 tabs behind the scenes.
Woo! Thank you, Lexi, for walking us through all of those. A question from Annabelle. So curious, how do you use the quiz responses you get for one-off campaigns, or do you only use them in flows?
Um, w- I want to use them more in campaigns. We just switched the quiz a lot, so I've had to like redo a lot of this stuff, but definitely like dynamic populating like correct reviews. And then right now we're using the quiz data to really inform like what concerns are most interesting. Like we originally thought people were concerned with like one thing more than the other, and now that I know like no, most people are shopping for this type of product and they have this type of concern, that informs a lot of my campaigns going forward. So because we have two buckets, I can split campaigns like if we're promoting a certain serum that does work for both skin types, I can split that campaign and be like, here's how it will help you solve concern A, and I know like that's half the people, and then here's how it solves concern B, and that goes to the other half of the people. And then send a third campaign that like they don't have the skin quiz or they're not one of those answers, and I can put a dynamic block promoting the skin quiz there, which I might be able to show an example of if I can find it. Does that answer the question? I feel like I got a little off track.
Yep. Annabelle says, yep, thanks. Yeah. Oh, I really like that you're using that new Octane AI feature where you can link directly back to the product results page, which is pretty cool. We had to,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody ever thinks about it, but like quizzes don't like organically do that. We had to build a new feature on Octane so that we could save this. It's almost like a dynamically generated like landing page on your website for each individual person. And so then we save that page and then we can pass over the direct link to it to Klaviyo. And then that's how you are able to include a button or a link in your email that, when someone clicks it, it takes them back to like, the Matt 3 ships page or the Lexi, 3 ships page, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, I can't like pull it up immediately, but we have a little block. By that, I mean like a saved section in campaigns that in that little question mark area at the top where you put the logic, it's just like if they have not taken the quiz, then it will show in our campaigns and like, hey, you should take the quiz. And we'll throw that in a bunch of campaigns.
I keep being muted. If anybody else has any questions, drop them in the chat. Also, actually, no. Let's start with some questions, and then I have a question for the entire audience, and then you can all paste something in the chat. But yeah, if you have any other questions, maybe like we'll do like 1 or 2 more minutes of answering them. So give you a little bit of time to write a question in there for Lexi. Lexi, I guess like when you look at your email flows right now, are there things that you like wish that you could do, or like maybe data from Octane that you don't currently get that you wish you had? Like dynamically putting the products in is like really awesome. Is there anything else like that that we should be thinking about when we're like improving the product?
Mm, I don't know. Like honestly, now that you can dynamically link to products, that solves most of the problems that were time consuming for me. So I don't know. I know that there's been a lot of feedback on like the actual quiz itself. I didn't have anything to do with building the quiz. I'd love to have like more design options there, but as far as syncing it to Klaviyo, it does everything that I needed to be able to like communicate my message. Like I love the fact that we can send emails that like thoroughly explains why they've been recommended, so they're not just like, oh, you just told me something. Like no, like on the actual quiz page it's like, because you have dry skin, we're going to recommend this type of ingredient to you, and then we can follow up an email like that, so they know it's not just like a random thing we're asking them to do. It's actually helpful, and it's solved a lot of customer service problems for us.
By the way, for anybody who's watching, who I saw that we had a question for this, who wants to have access to all of the features that Lexi is using with 3 ships, and you're wondering like what pricing plan on Octane you need to have to do that, we haven't announced this publicly, and so it's just within this show. But we actually have pricing that we have created specifically for brands who are looking to leverage all the features and are also interested in sending ad traffic to their quizzes. We have a new pricing plan which basically includes all the features, and you get unlimited number of people taking your quiz, and uh, it's really like it's really affordable for the size of the brand that you are. So if you're a really small brand, this isn't going to cost that much, and if you're a larger brand, like this cost is going to be negligible as well, because it's going to make you a lot more money and get you a lot more emails and a lot more data, and you can have literally billions of people take your quiz if you wanted, and you wouldn't get charged anymore. So it's not publicly available yet, but we are offering it. If you do want that kind of like new pricing where you have unlimited everything, and it's really geared for you're kind of making this as a landing page for your ads, which is really effective. I just dropped the link in there. I don't have a better link. You just got to fill out like the book demo link. I wish I had a better link than that. But if you fill that out, we will reach out to you and we'll hook you up with this unlimited plan, which is really awesome. And then in like, a month or two, we'll basically roll that out so that it's, a lot easier and you don't have to request a demo to get it. You can just like click some buttons. Question from Brody. Do you ever use follow-up quizzes to get more info from people who have already taken the main quiz?
No, we don't. Would love to. Like, I would love the idea of doing multiple quizzes or quizzes for like different specific concerns or when we launch something new. But right now, we're just like trying to pull like what are the most effective levers, like what are the smallest things we can do that have the greatest impact, and driving a ton of people to the quiz, like making sure that's all throughout our flows and often through campaigns is like the first thing we can do to like immediately get the most out of Octane. But we definitely have a lot of things we want down the road.
That's like the first step. It's like you get one quiz and then you personalize the emails, and then you realize there's actually a lot of other points throughout a customer journey where having an automated conversation and then using the answers to automate more flows like makes a lot of sense, because the starting point is someone new comes into the store. What's the first conversation you're going to have with them, and then like how are you going to virtually walk them around the store, to recommend the right product. But what if someone's like already bought a bunch of stuff? What if it's like a VIP? Like, we've also heard of examples where you'll ask if someone like cancels a subscription, you can have a quiz and it figures out why they canceled, and then you can learn, and then you can apply that to new people, and you can like reduce cancellations. So any place where an automated conversation makes sense, a quiz kind of like can fit in nicely. Lexi, thank you so much for answering all these questions and for showing us all this. We're gonna have to cut this up into like a lot of snippets. We'll put this up on YouTube. Again, if you're watching YouTube right now, below, make sure to like and subscribe and whatnot. Question for everybody in the audience before you all leave. I and Lexi are very active on Twitter. Now, I know not everybody here is necessarily on Twitter, but I would love to follow all of you. If you are on Twitter, could you drop your Twitter link? I'll drop mine, so please go follow me. But if you're on Twitter, can you drop your Twitter link so that we can all follow each other? Because if you're like asking questions about your brand, or you want feedback on a landing page or an email or a quiz you're making, if we all followed each other, it would make it super easy to for everybody to kind of engage with each other. So I wish we could do these Wednesday chats on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but they're just on Wednesday. So for the rest of the time, we have to be on Twitter. So drop your Twitter link in the chat. Let's all go follow each other. Uh, let's. I'm gonna keep the Zoom open so everyone can make sure to scroll through the Twitter links and follow everybody. I'll turn on some Twitter following music as we all follow each other. So don't leave. But that's the end of the show. Now we're just gonna follow each other. Thank you for coming. So good of you all to spend time with us. Lexi, thank you for sharing your brain with everybody.
You, this is so much fun. I just love that there's like other people that geek out about the same stuff that we do.
That's what we're here for. It's not for everybody, but for people who geek out about
How cool is
personalizing
that? Like
emails.
someone
Like
can
this
see
is my
something on
favorite thing.
the
This is the
website and
truth.
then you can send them a perfect email that like matches that. Like, come on. Like
I mean, what's
that's good
cool? What's
stuff.
cooler than that? There's literally nothing cooler than that.
This is my
You know,
world. I love it.
that's like the basic. Someone else may think it's crazy. I think we know that that's like the most fun you can have.